All right. Let me start by explaining what are the requirements of the deliverables. We have to first turn in the document where you were copy pasting all the screenshots. Certain exercises require more than one screenshot. Specifically, those that had more than one particular query. And then this is where I have to explain this. So we have to go into the following three different queries, and then we're gonna look at the history and then export the history into a text file. And how do we do that? All right. So first, let's start with selecting the project for accounts receivable. So you do that by selecting the project for accounts receivable. That's great. I'm going to expand on the accounts receivable, and I'm looking specifically for that high value amount data sheet. And so in this case, I need to expand on this one right here and have the high value amounts. I can click on it. I can zoom in. Let me zoom in just to make sure that I have the right view. And I will look at the history of this data sheet, and I can expand it a little better. Let me bring it over here. I know this is very tiny, so you have to kind of zoom in, but it's the button right next to the filter, which says to expand all details. Hopefully your computer is not showing a limited view like mine was. But here it is. And all you got to do is press export to a text file. In this case, we are going to call this high value amounts data sheet. Make sure you use your last name, first name, and then you're going to say, this is my Parra Fernando idea high value. So let me switch that to your name. You got to switch that to your name. So Parra Fernando idea high value text. Press save. Where is it saving? Oh, I saved it in a different folder. Let me make sure that I'm saving it in the right place. So just to make sure that I know where I'm getting it, I'm going to put it on my documents. So I'm going to create this, and let me just save it as this, right? Boom. I'm replacing it. Now the next two are going to be coming from your accounts payable audit. So then I have to go to my select project, switch to the accounts payable. Again, select projects. That's in your home. Then I can switch to the accounts payable audit. And then I will look for that accounts payable cash and pay name. I can zoom in so you can see a little better. You may not have this issue. Then I go to history, right? I'm going to make this a little nicer by expanding this a little more. And then the date as well, a little more. And then my user, a little more. And then again, pressing on the expand all details, I can then export to my text file. And this is going to be called the cash base, right? So this would be cash base. Let me save it in the folder where I can find them later on. So in this case, I'm going to save it under cache base. I've already exported it before, but I had an error on the video, so I'm just redoing it. So that's done. And then I will switch to the payment days outside policy range. So if you remember, there was a query, I think on 3K, I believe, where you have payment days outside the policy range. Let's take a look at that query. We can zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. Go to the history. You can arrange it a little better. And at that point, you can export that. I'm sorry, before you export it, you got to expand it. Make sure you expand it, please. And then you export this to a text file. Make sure you save it again in a place that you are going to be able to locate later on. This is going to be non-compliant payments, right? So that is the non-compliant payments.txt. This last text right here. And so it happens to be Parra Fernando, idea non-compliant payments. And that's it. So I only want you to do a few of them just to verify that, again, all this information, the metadata, will show the scripts that he used to stratify, to do all the previous steps are going to come in with your Benford's law. Everything is going to be included in those analysis, just to make sure that that you understand that all of this is showing where whose computer you're using. Do not modify this any longer, because then it also keeps track of when you indexed it and what was the time. So having that done, then you will have a bunch of files, and then the screenshots would be in a different file that you'll have to upload to Blackboard. Make sure you upload it to Blackboard by midnight today, Wednesday. Thank you, guys.